Hello everyone, my name is Fernando. I'm from Brazil, and here we prepared a little song for you. It's called One Big Family, and the reason we chose it is to try to pass this interfaith a little bit of message, right? We are all one big family. And here we have the missionaries as well. We work here in the Montreal church trying to help this community, and I hope you guys have a good time with our song. It's nothing very special, but I hope you guys find yourself enjoying it.
I wonder why you and me fight by each other. Don't you see the similarities between us? Take a minute and see yourself in the mirror. You look like me, those eyes, lips you can't deny. Have you thought about why we look the same? Why feel the same? Don't tell me it's by chance. Oh, you're my brother, you're my sister, we're one big family. Oh, you're my brother, you're my sister, just one big family. It doesn't matter if you live far away from me. You feel, I feel, you bleed, I bleed, you cry and I cry. We sleep and dream. Sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're happy. You breathe, I breathe. We love, walk, talk and we smile. Have you thought about why we look the same? Why we feel the same? Don't tell me it's by chance. Oh, you're my brother, you're my sister, we're one big family. Whoa, you're my brother, you're my sister, just one big family. Whoa, you're my brother, you're my sister, we're one big family. Whoa, you're my brother, you're my sister, just one big family, just one big family.
Bravo! Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Et l'équipe sont des étudiants de Solomon University et ils sont ici en stage pour promouvoir la vision de paix.
So they are from Sun Moon University. They're teaching about the vision of peace.
Merci. Alors,
So
it's a bilingual meeting, and whoever is unilingue anglophone, please make sure you have the headphone. Thank you. So, si vous êtes unilingue francophone, assurez-vous d'avoir des écouteurs avec vous. Okay. For people online, we have few people online, people who are not from Montreal, basically they are from Vancouver and Toronto. So for you, it's a bilingual event. Please, if you don't understand French, click on interpretation on the bottom of your screen, little globe, and choose English. So it's very simple. So from now on, I'll be speaking in French. Merci beaucoup.
thank you very much for being here. We're very honored to have you here with us. The program today will go like this. We're going to have 6 speakers. One lady was added. We're going to have Reverend Rosemary Lambie, then Mrs. Hanan Masuod, then Mr. Famularo, and a third person in line, Mrs. Marceil. It will be followed by a period of questions. And at a certain, then we will have a time to network. And also, Mrs. Lambie will play us a nice song. So, without further waiting, let us introduce our first speaker. Let me introduce our first speaker, Reverend Rosemary Lambie. Here, Rosemary. So, Rosemary. Rosemary is a minister, interim minister of the United Church in Ville-Mont-Royal. She is executive minister, retired executive minister for Quebec and east of Ontario, and as well as mother and grandmother. Reverend Lambie lives a life based on faith, for which the higher power, so for whom the highest power in his faith, her faith, brought her to support many communities which for such as indigenous communities, refugee communities, people living in the Smoky Mountain area. She participated in the Commission Truth and Reconciliation Committee, and she was involved as well in translation of the Bible in Mohawk language. Thank you, Mrs. Lambie. You have the floor.
So, now you can hear me. Ah, yes. We have liftoff. So I'll start by saying that in 45 years of doing funerals, one of the toughest I faced was not the most tragic, but the reaction after it was over, when a young teenage girl had a complete hysterical meltdown, screaming, "Just tell me where my father is, now." All the scriptures and the prayers had done nothing to reassure someone who had not had any kind of faith grounding in her life, to suddenly accept the loss of her father and to be able to trust that the Creator who gave him life was now welcoming him home again. We all grieve when we lose a loved one, someone irreplaceable in our lives. We ache and we cry, and we remember them through stories, but we're not lost. This girl had no faith basis to help her regain stability and harmony in her life. And what is harmony? As a singer, I would say it's the ability to blend and make something richer and more beautiful. When we all sing the tune, that's called singing in unison. But when someone has a lower voice in the alto, tenor, or bass notes, and they sing a slightly different version of the same song at the same time, we have harmony. We have a blending of sounds creating beauty. Like weaving colored fabrics, ribbons, or fabric together to create something more beautiful than just one solid color. Harmony signifies a state of agreement and balance, broadly defined as the combination of different elements, musical notes, people, or ideas, in a consistent, orderly whole. It often represents peaceful, concordant relationships, or in music, the simultaneous sounding of multiple pitches to create chords. Harmony in one's life refers to a state of balance and alignment among various aspects of a person's being, including physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. A harmonious life is characterized by a sense of inner peace, contentment, fulfillment. And if people live in harmony with each other, they are living together peacefully rather than fighting and arguing. Our world so desperately needs these days for humans to try to live in peace and harmony, both with ourselves and those around us. And we all have a role to play. One of the challenges our society globally faces is preserving the freedom to believe and to actively practice our faith, which is central to the harmony of any society. We don't want people to feel lost and unable to cope with the stresses and realities of life, which are inevitable. So as a religious leader, I constantly ask myself, what is my role and my responsibility? And with all the other stresses of society, many being caused by social media and the loss of respect for a day of Sabbath, how can I help? And as voting members of society and caring citizens, what is our responsibility? The Honorable Jean Augustine said, "For such a time as this, acknowledging progress is not enough. The future will be shaped not by what we predict, but what we choose to do now." As a person whose life is grounded in faith and who believes in a loving Creator, put me on this earth for a purpose, I encourage us all to search for our purpose, knowing that every day when we awaken, we have been given a new chance for a fresh start. And the prophet Ezekiel said, "I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will remove your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh." We all have our own reasons for feeling that we have heavy hearts, and we should carry these pains and these hurts and these injustices and any number of wounds from the past forward with us. It is, after all, our history, and it can't be undone. But healing can only happen when we eventually realize that the one we hurt the most when we carry all these pains is ourselves. Reflecting on the years of your life, you may discover many scars, life's challenges, but where we let love triumph, forgiveness be our choice, and love be our way, we create the spaciousness to welcome greater love in our hearts, our own visions of peace and goodwill. Let peace pervade and the wounds be healed, changing from open gashes of deep hurts and pains to the scars carried while being the best version of ourselves, making room in life, making room to live in a state of personal harmony, and making room for the harmony of others around you. Carrying the understanding that your Creator, and whatever you call your Creator, who knows each of us by name, is writing a message of love on your heart, on each of our hearts. We will only pay attention and allow the transforming of each of us. We all need harmony, which means we need to work to remove the stones in our hearts, to live with hearts of flesh, of love, forgiveness and gratitude, of kindness, peace, and compassion. The world is like a woven fabric of many colors, with our own stories, sacred texts, and rituals. The things we have in common is the desire to practice our faith freely. And we all have a variation of the golden rule, meaning to support our neighbors, so that together we live in communities with peace and harmony. We need to feel free and safe to sing and pray in public, to march in parades and gather in cemeteries and parks or at memorial sites and cenotaphs. We need to be able to do this alone or together with other faith groups, with respect and solidarity in the harmony of our common life and shared communities. A former Queen's University professor, Jean Stairs, wrote a book entitled Listening to the Soul. Merci. She invites us to deep listening, what she calls soul listening, and it means being aware of our intentions and the focus of our attention. With all that's going on in the world around us, and with the decline of numbers and money in so many places of worship, hope can be hard. On the other hand, despair is easy. Despair doesn't ask anything of us. When we despair, we just sit back and wait for the worst to come. But when we hope, we act. When we hope, we work. When we hope, we try. Anne Lamott said, hope begins in the dark, the stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do it right, the right thing, the dawn will come. You wait and watch and work. You don't give up. So, in your quest for harmony for the common good, find a reason to hope. Get doing. Get going. Just one small step at a time. Do more today than you did yesterday. Extend yourself and let the Creator's expansive love awaken your senses, pulling yourself out of the mind funk and becoming more aware of your own possibilities. Hope, act, work, try. From Proverbs, listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go. God's the one who will keep you on track. And I'm going to sing a song now. God gives a deep assurance to people in despair when the future feels uncertain and no one seems to care. The word of God comes ringing to still our deepest fear. A new heart I will give you, a new hope for today, a new hope and a new heart, and strength to walk the way. Doubt crowds our fragile vision, our energy runs low. We're gripped by deep confusion, and our response is slow. Then Jesus stands among us and clearly helps us know. A new heart I will give you, a new hope for today, a new heart and a new hope, and strength to walk the way. Each fiber of our being cries out that we may see God's will and purpose for us. the song that sets us free. A new heart I will give you, a new hope for today, a new heart and a new hope, and strength to walk the way. A new heart I will give you, a new hope for today, a new heart and a new hope, and strength to walk the way.
Un immense merci, Révérend Lambie. Un message
Thank you so much, Reverend Lambie.
d'espoir,
A message of hope,
s'engage, un message
a message that brings us to commit ourselves. So let's all experience together this reality. Thank you once again. I will now introduce you another person that is very dear to me, Madame Masuod, Hanan. Hanan is a mother of 4 children. She's a founder and president of Ensemble pour protéger nos enfants. Concerned to see that some ideologies, alarming ideologies, she does this on her own and with 100 people and then with thousands of people, took position to protect children in Quebec. So she put on place an organization that gathers people from all beliefs, Muslims, Christians, Catholics, unificationists, working together to ask for respect of parental rights and protection of children. Hanan, you have the floor.
Hello everyone.
Bonjour tout le monde. Premièrement, j'aimerais vous remercier de m'avoir donné l'opportunité de parler à cette conférence. Je vais essayer dans quelques minutes de partager mon message clairement et sincèrement. Les religions en général, qu'il s'agisse du judaïsme, du christianisme, de l'islam, enseignent des valeurs fondamentales similaires. Elles nous enjoignent de faire le bien, de nous éloigner du mal. Ils interdisent de tuer, de mentir, de voler, de commettre l'adultère, tout ce qui nuit aux êtres humains et aux animaux. Elles proviennent d'une seule source divine. Les prophètes ont été envoyés comme des messagers pour nous enseigner le sens de la vie et le but de notre existence. Ce but est d'adorer Dieu et d'élever nos enfants dans les valeurs de bonté, de tolérance, d'intégrité et d'intégrité morale. Nous ne refusons pas aux gens le droit de choisir leur propre voie ou leur propre croyance. Dieu guide ceux qu'il veut. Et la foi est en fin de compte une affaire personnelle. Dans ce pays, il y a des gens qui croient en un seul Dieu, d'autres qui croient en plusieurs dieux, et certaines qui ne croient pas du tout en Dieu. Il y a aussi des gens qui croient que les êtres humains ont évolué au fil du temps. Cette diversité de croyances fait partie de notre société. Nous avons toujours connu ce pays comme une terre de liberté et de diversité, avec différentes religions, cultures et origines. Cela fait partie de l'identité du Canada et ne peut être changé. Si le gouvernement choisit de suivre la laïcité, cela ne signifie pas qu'il doit forcer les gens à être laïcs. Partout dans le monde, des personnes de différentes religions vivent ensemble en paix. Cependant, aujourd'hui, nous assistons à des changements qui inquiètent beaucoup de gens. Un pays réputé pour sa sécurité et sa paix semble désormais moins sûr. D'un côté, on observe un fort engagement en faveur des droits des femmes. De l'autre, certaines femmes se voient refuser le droit de s'habiller comme elles le souhaitent, souvent pour des raisons un peu convaincantes. D'un côté, la prière publique dans les parcs ou dans les espaces ouverts est critiquée. Dans l'autre, des célébrations et des festivals bruyants animent les rues jusqu'à minuit, empêchant les habitants de dormir. Le contraste est flagrant et ne nécessite aucune explication supplémentaire. Les gens ont le sentiment que la foi et les valeurs religieuses sont remises en question. On a assisté également à des scandales impliquant des personnes puissantes qui abusent de leur argent, de leur autorité pour nuire à autrui, en particulier aux enfants. Cela montre que nous devons défendre la vérité et la justice. Certaines personnes peuvent sembler puissantes, mais Dieu est plus grand que tout. Merci. Thank you very much, Hanan.
Okay.
And the commitment of Hanan, what she expresses now, touches a lot what Reverend Lambie expressed. We cannot leave the place of God, be removed from our society. We will continue the reflection. Reverend Lambie, Hanan, and now Mr. Franco Famularo. After this, we will have a discussion together. These are the base for the reflection that is coming. Mr. Famularo is president for Universal Peace Federation in Canada. He's also the president of the board of directors of HJI International Graduate School for Peace and Public Leadership in New York, where he obtained his doctorate in ministry. Very interested by history of religions, confessional dialogue, interreligious dialogue, and actions in favor of peace. He has served the Unificationist community for 50 years in Canada, in the UK, in Russia, and the United States. So,
merci Isabelle, and thank you Isabelle.
Thank you, Isabelle.
So I will speak in my mother tongues, because as you know, I have a multilingual background. Growing up in Montreal, when we spoke Italian at home, French on the street, and English at school. And so I can never figure out how to speak properly because I can't figure out which language I should speak in. But thank you. You know, the theme today is Interfaith Harmony, and we all have a role to play. This is the theme of the United Nations for this Interfaith Harmony Week, which has been initiated since 2010. And our program is Interfaith Perspectives on Freedom of Belief. So, friends, brothers and sisters in faith, I'd like to reflect on the theme for our gathering today, which as I mentioned, is Interfaith Harmony and Freedom of Belief. So, first of all, yes, we all have a role to play. And to see this group here, which is comprised of people of every race, of every background, of every culture, is very important, because it wasn't like this before. Our ancestry fought wars with each other. We discriminated against each other. We weren't always very kind. And the fact that we can sit in the same room together is already quite a step forward. So a few days ago, I attended the International Religious Freedom Summit in Washington, D.C. This is the largest gathering for those persecuted for their faith in the world. And people came from Africa, from Asia, from Latin America, from every part of the world, because there are many states that don't respect the freedom to believe what you want to believe. And some of the situations are quite tragic. Some of the circumstances are quite evil, to say it bluntly. And, you know, we are concerned about the freedom of expression, the freedom to say what we think, the freedom to believe what we can, what we do, but not all people can even get that far. So I have 7 points, and I'm going to start with the last one first, and I'm going to come back to it at the end. So my 7th point is, let us cooperate regardless of our differences of belief. So, firstly, freedom of belief is a universal human right, and is more than a legal principle. It is a recognition of something deeply human, our conscience, our search for meaning, and our right to live according to our deepest convictions. In some countries, there are constitutions that claim that these rights come from God. In other constitutions, they emphasize that you have the right to believe and not to believe. So it means the freedom to believe, to not believe, to change one's beliefs, and to practice faith openly without fear of discrimination or violence. That's an important point, is that we should also have the freedom to change what we believe. And this is not guaranteed in some countries. And this aligns with the international standards like Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was actually first drafted by a Canadian who studied at McGill, John Humphrey, in late 1940s, and then was adopted and transformed into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that we commemorate on December the 10th of each year. So true religious freedom protects people of all faiths. We should respect the freedom of everyone in every country, I should say, so that people can believe what they want in each country. So when freedom of belief is respected, societies become more peaceful, creative, resilient, and when it is suppressed, there's fear, resentment, and division that take root. History shows us that protecting religious freedom is not only good for believers, but it is essential for the health of a society as a whole. So in Canada, we're fortunate enough that we can gather together, and we have no fear that the police is going to come in here today and drive us out because we're talking about such controversial topics like harmony and peace, or that we're singing songs like Rosemary sang so beautifully. Let's give her a big hand for that song. And that Hanan, who is an activist, you know, she doesn't fear for her life when she demonstrates or when she speaks her mind about certain controversial issues. At least she shouldn't, right? But unfortunately, even in a country like Canada, you can fear because there are forces that want to destroy our freedoms. So secondly, interfaith harmony is essential for true freedom of belief. interfaith harmony is essential. So freedom of belief alone is not enough because harmony requires responsibility. It calls on us to treat people of other faiths with dignity, fairness, and respect. We do not need to agree with one another to live peacefully together, but we do to listen, to understand, and to reject prejudice. This morning, just before I came to church, the president of the institution that I'm the chair of the board sent me a depiction of a drawing that they found on an old Roman wall from almost 2,000 years ago. And they were mocking some Christian by having a donkey's head on a body that was crucified. And, you know, a donkey is the lowest of the animals, at least according to the Romans of that time. And this is how they mocked people 2,000 years ago. Right? And there have been many such expressions of discrimination because, oh, they wear a funny hat, or they take their shoes off, or they have a funny head covering, or the costume, or the priest is wearing what they call a dog's collar, right? That's what they call it, right? But, you know, we have so many, and the ministers also do that, right? So we have so many areas through which we can discriminate. So it calls on us to treat people of other faiths with dignity, fairness, and respect. So we don't need to agree with one another to live peacefully, but we do need to listen, to understand, and to reject prejudice. If my fellow friend who's a Muslim, or a Jew, or a Sikh, or a Hindu, or a Buddhist, or a Christian of a different denomination is mocked and ridiculed, this doesn't help the cause of peace or harmony. So we need to defend each other across our religious and denominational lines. Interfaith harmony begins in everyday choices. How we speak to those who believe differently. How we respond when we encounter stereotypes or misinformation. How willing we are to build friendships across religious and cultural lines. Without mutual tolerance and respect among different faith communities, freedom becomes impossible. When one group rejects another's practices or symbols, it creates fear that undermines free expression. Interfaith dialogue indeed builds trust. We start to discover that that human being sweats like I do, walks like I do, suffers like I do, has children who may be in difficult circumstances, and breathes the same air, and has red blood flowing through their body just like I do. Interfaith dialogue builds trust and fosters peaceful coexistence, making societies more inclusive and reducing religiously motivated violence or intolerance. It's unacceptable, as we heard the other day, that a mosque in Pakistan was destroyed. It's unacceptable that someone goes into an important church in Paris or Italy or wherever and causes a fire intentionally because they disagree. It's unacceptable that we should discriminate with each other on any of these reasons. Thirdly, diversity is a strength. It's not a threat. Diversity is a strength. Interfaith perspectives celebrate religious diversity as a part of the human experience. Many traditions view pluralism as reflecting divine intention or the richness of creation, just like the different colors of, what do you call those again? Yeah, those, the cloths, right? So by respecting differences while upholding shared values like justice, compassion, and dignity, communities can collaborate on common goals such as peace, human rights, and social justice. We can get together and clean the park. We can get together across our different denominations and collect food and distribute it to the poor, because each one of our traditions actually teaches that. Fourth, freedom applies to both individuals and communities. We all agree that belief is deeply personal. Some people would like to make it completely private, but that's not right, because we need people to associate with. So if faith leaders collaborate, but it's often lived in a community, and we associate and share with others. An interfaith perspective affirms collective rights for groups to govern themselves according to their convictions. If they do not infringe on others' freedoms, the collective aspect enables religious communities to strive. So you go to Vancouver, and welcome to our friends from Vancouver, and to Toronto, some areas have been designated religious highways. Certain parts of Toronto, in the north of Toronto, and also in Vancouver, are known. And there are mosques and synagogues and temples and churches all on the same street because they designated that area to be zoned for church activity. You know, it's not easy to choose sometimes prime real estate in the middle of the city, but they designated that. So it's wonderful to see. So then people who have different faiths can actually mingle with each other from time to time. So this collective aspect enables religious communities to thrive while contributing to broader society. So fifthly, engaging in dialogue prevents misuse and supports accountability, as it helps to stop the abuse of religious freedom. If faith leaders collaborate, they can help protect each other by defending minorities and ensuring government neutrality. You know, every religion started small. Every religion at one point was a sect or considered a cult. And the definition of cult, by the way, is a group that you don't like. Right? But because every tradition started like that, then we should be sensitive as religious leaders to actually be considerate and sensitive to these small groups who may believe strange things. But everyone is strange, right? Every group has strange views. So across religious traditions, we find shared values. You know, the golden rule. We have a poster downstairs that shows all the different traditions. Basically, they say the same thing in different ways. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto yourself, or don't do to others what you don't want for yourself, and so on. So many variations. Sixth, most religious traditions internally support freedom of belief. In the Quran, teachings like there is no compulsion in religion, and the Christian perspective on free conscience and not policing non-believers, and Jewish values of dignity. These diverse faiths, they provide a theological grounding for non-coercion. We've grown out of things like the Crusades. We've grown out of things like the wars of religion. We've grown out of the Inquisition. We've grown out of those circumstances which were born by a more primitive view of human life and human interaction. So, diverse faiths, as I said, provide the grounding, the theological grounding for non-coercion, and interfaith perspectives highlight these shared values, but unfortunately, too often, this is not practiced. So finally, I go back to my first point. Does anybody remember? Let's cooperate regardless of our differences of belief, and strengthen freedom for everyone through joint advocacy, education, and anti-hatred initiatives. These are polarized times. You know, the other day I had the pleasure of watching two of our former prime ministers, Jean Chrétien, who's the same age as my mother, he's 92, and Stephen Harper, who is exactly 1 year younger than me, right? So Jean Chrétien could be Stephen Harper's father. Just like my mother is 92, and I'm not going to tell you, I'm almost 68. And as I was watching this dialogue between these two former prime ministers who actually were opponents in the parliament and fought with each other, it was beautiful to see that political opponents can actually become friends. And they shared many common values as Canadians. So I sent this to some of my friends in the United States and in Korea and elsewhere, and they said, wow, that's not going to happen here. Not right now, right? Because we're in very polarized times. So it's important for us to get over that. And through doing that, through doing this dialogue, it builds stable societies where belief can flourish freely in a world which is divided by conflict. Cooperation among faiths sends a powerful message that peace is possible. So up on the wall there, in both English and French, you'll see the 5 principles of faith, of peace, that we have been promoting. These are universal principles that we've distilled from all the scripture. We have a book in the other room which is a compendium of the world scriptures organized by theme. And 95% of the time, they agree with each other. So out of that, we distilled it to these 5 points. The first is that all of us have a common origin. Some call that common origin God. Others call God Allah. Others call God Yahweh, and many other names. But everyone from a religious background agrees that we have a common origin. Secondly, people of faith agree that we're all spiritual and moral beings. We aren't just matter. Karl Marx had that idea, and a few other materialists had that idea. And therefore, human life was not treated with dignity in countries that followed that philosophy, unfortunately. And so hundreds of millions of people were executed for no good reason. My friend went to Cambodia and saw the devastation that took place there at the killing fields. It's beyond understanding that because a person didn't agree or didn't believe or didn't follow the track of the government, that they would be executed like that. But that's because they didn't view human beings as being spiritual and moral. Third, the family is the school of love. All religious traditions agree that the family is central to building a healthy society. Without a healthy family, we cannot build a peaceful society. And this is unfortunate because we really desperately need a healthy family. And living for the sake of others is the highest maxim. Living unselfishly, being generous, giving to others. And finally, interdependence and unity is the basis for creating peace in our world. So ultimately, interfaith harmony is not built only by governments or conferences or institutions. It's built by ordinary people like you and me, who choose to respect over fear, dialogue over hostility, and understanding over ignorance. And I'll conclude here, and if it's time for Sherry, is she there yet? I know that Sherry Marceil, she's there. So thank you very much. Otherwise, I would have sung you a song before she speaks, but I'll spare you today.
Et merci beaucoup, M. Famularo. Donc maintenant, c'est ajouté à notre programme Madame Chérie Marceil. Mme Marceil est membre du CA de la conversation interreligieuse canadienne. Elle est un membre actif du conseil du sommet multiconfessionnel en Colombie-Britannique et elle est aussi au conseil interconfessionnel des femmes en Colombie-Britannique. Et elle tenait à nous dire
She's also
un horaire très chargé.
She is very busy. Bonjour, and she's joining herself to our group today. So here she is. We will now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Alan Wilding out here on the coast invited me to address you today, and sorry, I got to turn down my interpretation here or something.
It's okay, we hear you.
Okay. I just hope I'm not hearing myself echoing here. I'm using two different computers right now. So Alan Wilding invited me a few days ago to address you because he knows me for a few years now, that I've been very active in the interfaith community in a number of organizations. And I don't know if they listed off, but I also was a recent recipient of the King Charles III Coronation Medal for my interfaith work. And so I've been listening. I joined a little bit late because I was coming from other meetings. But I think some of the things, I agree with everything that's being shared so far that I've heard. And I have thrown my notes together because Alan said, well, speak for 5 to 10 minutes. Whenever I'm given a time frame, I write it down, otherwise I'll just blather on. And so some of the things may overlap with what you've already heard. But I'm coming from a different perspective, and I'm leaning into a few different things that hopefully will promote some thought. about how we interact with people that may be different from us, different religions, or also secular people that may cause us some grief and trample on our rights as people of faith. And so hopefully by the end of this, you'll have gleaned something that will be useful. Okay? So what is robbing our communities of peace and harmony around the world? Well, for many people, their minds might immediately jump to thoughts about extremism birthed from religion, which seems to be grabbing headlines around the world. The headlines themselves prey on the ignorant and uninformed by fear-mongering against religious sects that are distant and unfamiliar. Many people who are not of any particular faith or spiritual background are erroneously led to conclude that religion is to blame for violent outbreaks, hate speeches, persecution, and discrimination because people of faith are intolerant of one another's doctrinal differences. I do not believe that people of faith are the ones who cause these tumultuous events, but rather they could be the answer to establishing peace. When the Ottoman regime ruled Jordan in the early 20th century, the ruler decided to tax the Christians, and so sent a scout ahead to two communities, where the scout proceeded to mark the doors of all the Christians. The Muslim neighbors took exception to this, and so went around marking everybody's door in the middle of the night, so that the tax collectors could not tell the difference between Muslim and Christian, which confused the scout when he brought the tax collectors back. The whole of society decided to stand together and said, "We are all brothers, so if you are going to tax the Christians, you will have to tax us all." This laid the foundation of the pluralistic participation in that society. Knowing about this historic incident, it is not surprising to learn that it was the King of Jordan who in 2010 called on the United Nations to pass a resolution adopting the first week of February as World Interfaith Harmony Week. This resolution only took 1 month to be passed unanimously by the members of the UN, and the underlying precedent of this resolution is love of God and love of neighbor. Over the past decade, I have worked with a number of different interfaith organizations to pull together a variety of events to celebrate World Interfaith Harmony Week, which has really turned into a month or so. Events were even held during the pandemic, but online, to keep the spirit of the event alive. Through the years, we have held interfaith dialogue forums on topics such as interfaith harmony, love of neighbor, interfaith communication, love of and stewardship of the environment. There have been youth panel discussions, compassionate listening workshops, interfaith music and spoken word concerts, interfaith dinners which included opportunities to address themes in small group discussions, tours of sacred spaces, stories of faith presentations, and the list goes on. For those who have worked in the interfaith community, we all recognize that the diverse spiritual traditions have more in common than they have different. In fact, the tenets of our faith, which builds our moral compasses, are virtually the same. Some of those tenets were just discussed, but these are the 5 that I have. We understand the importance of protecting religious freedom for all. The founding fathers of the United States recognized this important principle and therefore built religious freedom into the First Amendment of their Constitution. George Washington once said, quote, "I have often expressed my sentiments that every man conducting himself as a good citizen and being accountable to God alone for his religious opinions ought to be protected in worshiping the deity according to the dictates of his own conscience." End quote. Historically, when one faith community has their sacred space violently penetrated, the sorrow that follows resonates in every faith community because it does not take any great stretch of the imagination to believe it could happen to one's own faith community. Therefore, there is a sincere communal sense and priority to protecting religious freedoms and sacred spaces for all. Number two, we feel a sense of responsibility and stewardship in caring for the world around us. During my research on this topic, I uncovered the existence of an environmental network on the global scale, involving almost 200 faith-based or interfaith organizations that have signed on to the United Nations 2008 resolution called Faith for Earth Initiative. This initiative has created specifically to develop a skills and knowledge exchange for the purpose of environmental care and well-being. Number three, we believe family is important, and therefore we share a desire to build a legacy of faith in our youth. David A. Bednar, an apostle in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, made this statement in 2020 at the G20 summit in Saudi Arabia, quote, "Faith traditions are the incubators and shapers of family and community life, creating and sustaining the spiritual ties that link and bind people together. Religion transmits moral and social truths to the next generation. Can anything be more vital?" End of quote. Number 4, we believe in the brotherhood and sisterhood of the human family. Most of the world religions have some sort of teaching that promotes the idea of the one human family. The Dalai Lama offered this view, quote, "Any conflict with humanity should be considered as a family conflict." End of quote. I cannot help but think if everyone would sincerely develop and practice brotherly and sisterly love towards others, how much of the conflict in the world would resolve itself. Number 5, we feel obliged as an outward sign of our spiritual commitment to care for the impoverished and vulnerable in our communities. Although spiritual practices and rituals may vary widely among the world's religions, we all seem to have some sort of teaching or tenet in common that implies that we need to be good neighbors and care for those in need. In fact, most faith-based individuals consider themselves under obligation to help those who are worse off than they are. In keeping with this principle, many of the world religions have separate organizations set up to facilitate this charitable work. Knowing the love of God and love of neighbor appears to be a common tenet among spiritual traditions. It does not surprise me that this is the overarching theme of the UN World Interfaith Harmony Week. As faith-based individuals and organizations fully embrace these founding principles as prescribed by their respective religions, they cannot but feel the pull to actively engage in the cause of contributing to the betterment of the world around them that leads to building vibrant neighborhoods of support and inclusion. In fact, it can and has driven most faith-based individuals and organizations to actively seek outward opportunities to contribute either locally or globally through remedies such as humanitarian efforts, sustainable development goals, educational opportunities, mental health and addiction recovery support, and other efforts that enhance life in the community by creating opportunities for sustainable change. The problem, however, is that people of faith don't do these works in a way that draws attention to what they are doing, and therefore the general public is not aware of these efforts, and even worse, community leaders are often unaware of contributions made to the community by people of faith. And thus we see people drawing conclusions that faith-based individuals and organizations are irrelevant. To give you an example of this, let me share this story. Some years ago, a friend of mine from the interfaith community, who advocates for a vulnerable segment of the population, had a meeting with a municipal leader, which quickly related that this civic official was not a person of faith, and further to this, firmly believed that churches and such organizations were irrelevant. My friend took great exception to this and began to lay out just how much work and services in the community were provided by people and organizations of faith, which involved everything from long-term sustainable community development to urgent and acute humanitarian relief. Such efforts included churches and other faith-based organizations who opened their doors to provide extreme weather sheltering for the homeless, a sidewalk food and clothing ministry, province-wide food drives to support community food banks, a community-modeled addiction recovery service, ongoing free English second language courses and other services for refugees, an employment office to help with resumes and interview skills, all free of charge, and the list went on. My friend could see the official's jaw-dropping as she continued with the list. In the end, the official admitted that she had no idea just how much work was done by people of faith. As it turned out, these projects involved not only a diverse cross-section of faith-based individuals and organizations, but many were a collaborative effort by multiple groups. Consequently, we see a lack of knowledge and awareness leads to inaccurate assumptions. It doesn't take much imagination to move from this attitude to one of intolerance towards people of faith. And now to speak to the chaos in the world today, where secularism is overtaking the faithful, and in some places would crush the rights of the faithful based on misinformed opinions that people of diverse faith traditions are creating all the conflict in the world and are irrelevant. I would say to that they must stop blaming entire groups of people for a few badly behaved individuals. I would also share a quote from Sharon Eubank at the UN, who once said, quote, The best antidote to hate speech, religious intolerance, and discrimination perpetrated by religious groups is better religion. The best answer to Islamic extremism will be authentic Islam, just as the solution to Christian extremism will be authentic Christianity. It will be the best of faith that defeats distorted versions of religious belief. As we become more authentic in our own faith and spirituality, we will be able to provide a greater light that will draw others to it. We must learn to stand together as people of faith, and I believe that our interfaith efforts are paramount to our ability to fend off the chaos and persecutions of the world. Truth and knowledge are often equated with light, and thus the term enlightenment. Equally, I believe that hate speech, religious intolerance, persecution, discrimination, and violence could be associated with the term darkness. And yet there is no such thing as darkness. It is only an absence of light. Light and darkness cannot coexist. If you walk into a dark room and introduce light by the striking of a match or the lighting of a single candle, the darkness must recede. We are here today to share our light with one another, but we have a greater responsibility that when we leave here, we must hoist our light high so that it can be seen by those who feel they are in darkness. We must take every opportunity to share our light and join with others who have light, to work on the cares and concerns that we share about our communities, and we must become more visible in these efforts to silence those who claim that people of faith are intolerant towards one another. We must be seen as the peacemakers. As we become more authentic in our own faith and spirituality, we will be able to provide a greater light that will draw others to it, and be able to build relationships, to work together for the common good, to work for freedom of religion, and to be the example of peacemaking that can influence the world. I believe that in Canada we have something good and worth making efforts to preserve. There are interfaith efforts across every province and across the nation that need to be more visible so that we can be a shining example to other nations that are struggling with religious conflict and violence. In closing, I offer this food for thought that emphasizes the importance of our interfaith and collaborative efforts to stand together to preserve freedom of religion. I'm paraphrasing a quote by Martin Niemöller. And this is what he said. First they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for the Muslims, and I did not speak out because I was not a Muslim. Then they came for the Hindus, and I did not speak out because I was not a Hindu. Then they came for the Sikhs, and I did not speak out because I am not a Sikh. Then they came for the Baha'i, and I did not speak out because I am not a Baha'i. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. I just want to leave you these thoughts that although we struggle, some laws are being put in place that deprive us of some of our rights. The more we stand together, the more we speak out, and the more we set an example before the world so that people get to know us, they can appreciate the moral compasses that we have that will support and defend the beauty of our communities and the diversity that is found there. And I just want to thank Alan for inviting me at the last minute even to come and speak. And I'm grateful for anyone who pulls people of different faiths together to dialogue, because the more we speak, the more we find we have in common. So thank you for having me today.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Marceil.
Thank you, Mrs. Marceil. I hope I pronounced your name well. Please smile if you did. So after all of these presentations, we now are going to reach a moment where we're going to work together to break all those barriers together, to contribute to the establishment of a world of peace, harmony. So we are now, I forgot. Before that, we have Reverend Lambie who will sing a song. Yes, isn't that so? Yes, another one. And after that, we'll have a time of sharing on the basis of everything we heard and of our own lives, how we can contribute to the realization of this interreligious mode and take into our hands the future of our world.
Yes? Yeah, okay. The first one you've probably never heard, and the second one I will invite you to involve yourself in singing. Why am I? When long before time and the worlds were begun, when there was no earth and no sky and no sun, and all was deep silence and night reigned supreme, and even our Maker had only a dream. The silence was broken when God sang the song, and light pierced the darkness and rhythm began. And with its first birth cries, creation was born, and creaturely voices sang praise to the morn. The sounds of the creatures were one with their lords, their harmony sweet and befitting the word. The singer was pleased as the earth sang the song. The choir of creatures re-echoed it long. Though down through the ages the song disappeared, its harmonies broken and almost unheard, the singer comes to us to sing it again. Our God is with us in the world now as then. The light has returned as it came once before. The song of the Lord is our own song once more. So let us all sing with one heart and one voice, the song of the singer in whom we rejoice. To you, God the singer, our voices we raise. To you, song incarnate, we give all our praise. To you, Holy Spirit, our life and our breath, be glory through forever, through life and through death. Okay. Now here's one you all know. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God, our Creator, children all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and
Quelle belle façon de
What a wonderful way to conclude this discussion and these reflections before we pass to the wider communication. So now we will there are some people from Vancouver and from elsewhere in Canada that are on Zoom, so we will open discussion as well with them. We will take question and comments here. If some of you want to take some, also we will take them. If you have a question or comment, please lift your hand, whether it be here or there, and introduce yourself and express yourself in a very concise way so we can leave space for many people to express themselves and for our speakers also to answer if those questions are addressed to them. So in the front here, Mrs. Franco, Lambie, Hanan, let's be well positioned to be together with those on screen. So the microphone will circulate. Mark maybe will circulate it, or me. I can do it. Would someone like to make a comment? A question? Yes.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. I am Father Thibault, like him, a priest. So I appreciated very much Reverend Lambie's talk, the very beginning of it, how that teenager girl came and cried, "Where is my father now? Tell me." I thought it would be a wonderful way of beginning one of my homilies during a funeral, for example. Thank you very much, and I found it interesting that that brought you to the question, how do I create harmony in her life? It's not giving oh, your father is in heaven. No, that's not that. How do I create harmony? And you said somebody is harmony when she feels peace in herself. And we do not want people to feel lost, you said. So our question should be, how could I help? All these are beautiful points, very well developed. One thing is you said, one of the things that hearing other people, I must realize conflicts, The one who was most hurt was myself. That is the first step to healing. That I didn't understand it very well. I will try to reflect on it and come to it. There must be a deep meaning in it if she says that. And also I was very much touched by all that you have done in your life that Isabel enumerated. And one of the things that attracted me was, because I am a little bit in that domain, is that you helped translate the Bible into the Mohawk language. Are you a Mohawk? No? Okay. Right. It's okay. All right. You help them translate anyway. And then that stole, is it Mohawk stole? No. If you are not a Mohawk, of course it's not.
It was actually a gift from Central America.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I could also talk about Madame Masuod and Dr. Franco Famularo, but must give place to others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Thibault. Anybody want to comment?
Your question about when I said we hurt ourselves the most, I'm saying when we carry all the baggage of our lives with us and it consumes all our thoughts, we hurt ourselves. We're not hurting somebody else. When we go on about, oh, poor me, this happened to me and that happened to me, and nobody can fix it for us. So we're just kind of stirring aggravation within ourselves, and I think that's what causes people to get sick. Because you have to let it go. It's your past. You can't hold on to it forever. It's not going to get better by holding on to it. You have to let go and find that inner peace to be able to move forward. Does that help? Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Shane?
Thank you very much for this beautiful conference. I was very happy to be a part of. And I just want to tell you that would it be possible for people like us to go into schools and talk about these things, interfaith harmony, instead of just preaching to the converted, you know?
Well, I'd say everything's possible, because nothing is impossible. Give her the microphone, Isabel.
This kind of a thing begins in the family. Children are taught to love or hate. Children are taught to discriminate or accept. So we start at the family level, at the baby level, and then we go into schools and teach them to whoever has not been taught. So that's very important. But thank you for this.
Anybody?
Merci, thank you. So I do organize interfaith meetings at home sometimes. I'm not a leader as such, but just in the community. And what I've found is when we work together, we learn a lot from each other, because we also learn the challenges. For example, if you try to organize interfaith devotions, it might be serial, one each in turn, so that nobody has to say something that they don't agree with. Or potlucks or meals where it's going to be vegetarian, so that more religious communities can participate. And of course we learn from each other. And I'm wondering, at the very grassroots level, like in the homes, for example, with our neighbors and so on, what other things can be done to try to build interfaith relations even at that very grassroots level there?
You know, I think on the very grassroots level, one good thing that we can do in a big city like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and I want to acknowledge all those that are on the screen here because I'm sure they're listening, is when different religious bodies have an open house where they welcome people from their community. Because in any given community, there are Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, Jews. So if the church opens its door and says, come for a lunch or for a cultural program or something, so that you can see and smell and hear what we're like. And if Muslims do the same, and Sikhs do the same, and Hindus do the same, then on a grassroots level, we can break some of the barriers. And the next thing is to not just dialogue. Dialogue is important, but if we can act together, like I mentioned in my talk, if we can do collaborative food collection and distribution to the poor, or if we can do a cleanup of the park, and that this is an interfaith activity. And there are probably many other examples, and I'm sure that we can think of that. That's how I think on a very grassroots level, we can invite our children, we can invite our family members, and we can go and see, because generally the feeling is, oh, there's something strange going on in there. Right? Maybe you thought coming into this place today, if you've never been here before, what do they do there? What kind of sacrifices do they make? Do they do they take little birds and cut them in two? What do they do? Right? So by interacting in a natural way, I think that that's the way we can actually work on a grassroots level. Yeah.
Hanan?
There's a hand up over there. Oh. Là-bas, en arrière, Isabelle.
Non, mais Hanan want to respond?
Isabelle, maybe give the microphone to Nathan.
Bonjour. Donc, moi, c'est Imran Shados. Je suis membre de la communauté musulmane Ahmadiyya du Canada. Ma question est la suivante.
I'm a member of the Ahmadiyya
Franco,
community in Canada.
En fait, nous vivons dans un monde de plus en plus numérique. En fait.
So we live in a digital world more and more.
Faute d'information et la désinformation, en fait.
So there's a lot of disinformation
Donc, ma question
going
est,
around.
comment alors protéger la croyance, comment
Can we
protéger la
protect
croyance religieuse,
the religious
face à la
belief,
désinformation et aussi à
in front of disinformation,
artificielle.
And all that is done through internet and
Isabelle, tu veux
the
répondre?
media.
Pourquoi non?
Isabelle, you want to answer?
Elle est la coordonnatrice de nos activités au Québec.
Je ne me suis pas présentée. Je suis coordonnatrice de la Fédération Peuple Universel au Québec. Répondre à des informations.
I'm a member of the UPF in Quebec.
Si quelqu'un a une réponse, c'est un défi énorme.
So it's a big challenge.
Reconnaître ce qui vient des gens.
Social media is a big problem.
Ce qu'il faut.
So there's a lot of false information going around. It's very difficult to sort through all that. I cannot hear the question.
Nos enfants, ils ont besoin de beaucoup de protection.
Our children need a lot of protection.
Même dans ce qui n'est pas artificiel.
Even in what is not artificial, not virtual, they need a lot of protection. So as parents, we have big challenges.
Tout en sachant utiliser les réseaux sociaux, être capable
So
de limiter.
they can use social network, but how to limit, how to watch over what they see, what they hear, what they read, is a big challenge.
Oui, je vais parler dans la langue de Molière.
So I will speak in French.
Bon, je suis pas Molière. Merci beaucoup.
So thank you very much to each one. And Reverend Lambie, you gave me hope.
En faisant action aujourd'hui, maintenant.
So like today, coming here talking today, let's start today to hope. Thank you, Mr. Franco, and thank you to Hanan.
Voilà, merci. Et celle qui a parlé de Vancouver aussi.
And also thank you to the lady who spoke from Vancouver.
Ce qui m'est venu à l'esprit, et c'est une
What came to my mind? That's a question.
Qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire
What can we
pour
do
montrer à la société
to show to society
qu'il n'y a pas seulement comme ça un petit dialogue entre nous.
That it's not just a little conversation among ourselves here, but
assis dans la même pièce, c'est déjà un progrès.
That already so many different people are sitting in the same room. It's already progress, but it's not enough.
Ça ne suffit pas, donc il faudrait faire.
So we should do, as you say,
on peut faire des actions.
Do different activities. And I'm wondering,
nous, en tant que croyants,
as believers,
on croit en un seul Dieu.
We believe in basically in one God.
Hypothéquer ça, mais si on croit dans un seul Dieu,
if we believe in one God, Muslim, Christian, or other,
pourquoi
why?
On ne pourrait pas mettre un peu en échec le gouvernement qui réagit contre les
why should we
des musulmans,
confront the government who's struggling against us people who believe in one God, and they make laws to control religious people? Why can't we
par la prière
manifest through common prayer.
De la même façon en tant que musulman ou chrétien.
So as Muslims or Christians, or maybe there would be a way to be somewhere there together to pray God together. If, there's only one.
C'est ça un peu la question que je me pose parce que c'est une question qui m'a été posée.
It's a question I ask myself because it's one Muslim man who asked me this.
À prier ensemble.
No, why not? Try to pray together.
Je pose la question à chacun de vous.
So I'm asking a question to everybody.
C'est un concours, Hanan.
Yeah, you said we can go like manifestation by praying together, different religions. Yeah, it's a good idea, but from experience, we did a lot of manifestations regarding the protection of children. You know, the problem of teaching kids at school that stuff against our beliefs and religions and everything. But manifestations, we just tell them that we don't accept that, we are there to refuse, but they don't consider like any action to resolve the issue or just, they don't see it. They don't see if we go for manifestation there. And yes, would you like to say something? Yes, so it's just a way of us to express ourselves, to show them that we are there to show that we don't agree all these rules that unfair for all religion people. But I like what you said. Yeah, we can arrange something like this just to show them that we are there and we are united, all different religions. And religions cannot be forced. Everyone has the right to believe. Faith cannot be forced in all religions, as you said before. And I like what Madame said in the Zoom group. Darkness doesn't exist, only absence of light. So our rules is to bring the light to the society and show them what's right from wrong or what is the truth. Thank you, Lucas.
OK. Il est 5 heures, un peu passé. On va peut-être prendre une dernière question et puis après ça, on va continuer à se parler. On a des rafraîchissements.
It's almost 5 o'clock and I think we'll take one more question. But please talk among yourselves.
Une seconde. Après la prochaine question, j'ai dit on prend une dernière question. Après ça, ce sera le temps de réseauter ensemble, de discuter plus personnellement les uns avec les autres.
So after this, you can network and talk. Okay. We'll take one last question.
I'll try to keep it brief, and my question is for Reverend Rosemary. I don't think any of the speakers are Indigenous, but I would like to honor the Indigenous, including the Mohawk and other groups here in Quebec, that they are known to protect 80% of the world's biodiversity. So that is quite a success for Indigenous peoples around the world, and that includes Canada. I would like to say that the Indigenous do seek to follow the commandment to love each other, but generally the Indigenous extend the family beyond the human because they usually see animals and other creatures as brothers and sisters. And in their wisdom, they see humans as the younger brother, not the older one. So I would like Pastor Rosemary to comment on that.
Trying to find the question in there. Yes, they call North America Turtle Island. And if we read the creation story, certainly that I grew up with, the humans were the last ones here. Everything was created before human beings were created. So we are the younger siblings. It's in our heritage too. And they honor, they recognize the stars and the moon and the animals for all nature, the two-legged creatures and the four-legged creatures, that we're all cohabitants of this land. And when the Creator made each of us, we were each given the opportunity to live in relationship with the other, not to dominate. And the problem in our world is that the two-legged ones are trying to dominate too much. And one of the lessons that the Indigenous peoples are trying to teach us is to live with all my relations. That's their terminology, all my relations, which is everyone around us. And that includes, if you've ever had a pet, you know, your dog or your cat or your gerbil or your hamster, they become part of your family. And when they die, you grieve. And I've done funerals for animals because they're beloved to us. My grandson the other day, the cat got up on the table and the cat was meow meow, and he said, "Oh, he can't talk." I said, "Excuse me, bonjour, hello, meow, salut, bye bye, meow. I'm hungry, j'ai faim, meow." Well, he's only 3, but he laughed. He got the message. I don't understand the cat language, but the cat understood the cat language. I just wanted to respond to you a bit. When I was in the Philippines, I landed on in a town. I'd been told not to tell anybody I was a pastor because pastors get killed. So don't wear your collar, don't identify. And I was at in a public event, a big prayer rally, because Father Pops, who had spent his whole life supporting the rural farmers in the southern area of Mindanao, had been murdered. And there's no proof of that, of course, but the people are convinced. And they were having a huge prayer rally, and they said, "You have to come and pray for us." And I'm like, whoa. I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know how to pray, but I was, dear God, what do I say? How do I give these people health, hope and strength? And I got up and I said, I sang a song because I always sing, but I said, "We shall overcome." And we started to sing, "We shall overcome." And then there was a little nun that got up right after me, and she said, and she was half the size of me, and she said, "It's not we shall overcome, we shall overcome now." And the whole crowd just roared, "We shall overcome now." I was like, oh my Lord, what have I started? So, yes, we need to do it now. We need to be active and not wait until there's a murder in our midst to be animated to work together.
I love the spirit of yes. I love the spirit of Reverend Lambie. Let's do it. Let's fight. Let's be together and fight for God. Fight to establish His place on the earth now and the values that we all agree together. So we still are going to take another question because our representative of UPF in Vancouver wants to speak to us. So the word for Alan.
Hello. Unmute, please. Unmute.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I want just to touch on a few points that made me get involved in the interfaith work, and I'd like to thank the wonderful event today, which is so much of an experiment in many ways that I think it's going well. And I like to thank Sherry for coming, and also a mentor to me of how to proceed. I don't know how long I've been involved in interfaith work, but like Reverend Lambie said, we all carry around with us a lot of baggage that we have to unload, and we have to be responsible for it. That baggage with myself goes back a long way to my own family from southwest Lancashire, yes, close to Beetle country. And they are very good people, very good artistic people. But when I was growing up, they had various prejudices about the Irish, about the Catholics, about Jesus. They thought Jesus was well, there was always an argument on a Friday night when they'd had a couple of beers about whether Jesus was Catholic or Protestant. That sounds very funny, but then one night I piped up, actually, he was Jewish, and that created quite a stir. So, and also my best friend was Catholic, which didn't sit well, and came from a very large family. And then of course I joined this movement thanks to Father Moon, Reverend Moon, and Mrs. Moon back in 1968. And by the way, this is my 51st wedding anniversary today. So thank you. Looking for some applause at quite an achievement. But anyway, 5 grandchildren and 4 children. Thank you. And also, when I became involved in this, I don't know if Keiko King from the East Coast is online, but she also mentored me how to go about meeting people. And we met with the late Aziz Kaki, and who told us to be very consistent. Don't give up. Even if one person comes to your meeting, don't give up. So I tried to kind of follow that advice, and here we are today. And there's some wonderful people I've met, even in today. Sherry, for example. Anyway, I had some lessons I had to learn when I came to Vancouver about interfaith, to put that baggage I had inside of me aside. And one big lesson was one day I was told that the co-founder of our movement was coming to Vancouver. And I was kind of, when is she coming? Oh, in a week or two. So I had to assemble some people to listen to her, to assemble a meeting from scratch. And I sat up on the Japanese Cultural Center wondering how on earth am I going to do this? And a Muslim cleric approached me and asked me if everything was okay. I said no, and I explained the situation to him. This is what's going to happen. And he said, well, let's work on this together. And I was quite shocked at that. I have also a friend, a rabbi, who was very involved in interfaith work. So bang, bang, two barricades were down immediately, and we managed to pull off a miracle by working together. And Muslim and Christian and Jewish, and I'm from a Christian background, and a unificationist. So those are lessons in cooperation, basically, which has been emphasized today. I could go on a long time about this, but I'll thank everybody today for, and Franco especially, allowing me to be part of this historic gathering, really. It might be the start of something big. What do you think? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Alan. I'm going to interfere here, if I can, Isabel. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alan, and our Vancouver family there. And I'll better look that way, otherwise you're going to see the back of my shiny head. And thank you to everyone. We have people online from Nova Scotia, from Ontario, from Northern Ontario, from Toronto, from different parts of Ontario. Welcome. The president of the Women's Federation for World Peace here, Lily Taden, who just recovered from surgery. We have people here from the Midwest. We have people here from Vancouver and the West Coast. So this is really a pan-Canadian event. So thank you. And I think this is the time to wrap up. Thank you.
Yeah, but here we have people from Catholic, Evangelical, les autochtones, musulmans, Ahmadiyya. We have people from all over different faiths. I'm sure I forgot some of them. Sorry? Hindu. I think we have also les Saints de Jésus-Christ des derniers jours. En tout cas, on représente un regroupement de personnes qui peuvent faire une différence dans le monde.
So we represent a group of people that can truly bring peace in the world, but we have to work together.
Savez-vous, mais ne partez pas. Prenez le temps de vous rencontrer.
Please don't leave right away. Just share and talk to each other and do some networking. Thank you.